Any suggestions for how to get Facebook reviews for my firm? Are they as important as Google reviews? That's a good one. So Facebook reviews are going to be a lot easier to get than Google reviews, I think. But just reviews in general are really difficult. A lot of times you have to incentivize people to actually leave you a review. So like, how many times does this happen where, you get a great result for a client and you say, oh, that's all, will you please leave me a review? And they say, I'd love to leave a review. Definitely. I'll do it the second I get home. And then they get home and they completely forget about it and they never actually leave you a review. There's actually there's a TED Talk that I've kind of applied to this. It's this guy named Simon Sinek. And he's got this theory where he says that if you have goals, like if you are trying to lose weight, you're trying to quit smoking, trying to, exercise more, whatever you're trying to do, don't tell anyone your goals, because what they found is that when you tell someone your goals, you get the same endorphin rush as if you had actually completed the goals. So by telling someone, you already get the feeling, and then you're less likely to actually complete the goal. And I think that it's the same thing with reviews, because at the end of the day, the client has to think, what's in it for me? That's at the end of the day, everyone always thinks, what's in it for me, right? So what is their incentive to give you a review? Leaving a review is a huge pain in the ass. It's really not, for someone who's not tech savvy, it's really not an easy thing to do. They've got to go to Google. They got to find your listing. They've got to, if they're not signed in, they've got to figure out, how do I leave a review? Then I got to sign in. It's a whole thing, So what happens is the second there's any sort of resistance whatsoever to that entire process, they say, screw it, I'm not leaving a review. Or they say, I'll come back to it. And we all know what happens when people come back to it. They don't actually do it. So you've got to give them some sort of incentive. And I know this is not a popular, sometimes people hear this and they get kind of freaked out, but unfortunately it is what it is. We've told clients to, offer Starbucks cards or some sort of incentive. Actually, there's a law firm. I don't know who this was. I apologize for not giving credit. This was not my idea. I think it's a really good idea though, where basically they were doing donations to charity in exchange for every review that they got. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, what's in it for me? That's what the client is thinking. So what you have to do is you have to incentivize them in some way. You also need to make it as stupid simple for them as possible. So what the best thing to do is, if you can send them the link, don't say, hey, would you leave me a review on Facebook? What I would do is copy the exact link that opens up the review box and send that to them. And give them some sort of incentive. Now, Facebook and Google are a little different. Facebook reviews, you could probably actually ask people to do that while they're even still in your office. If you could say, hey, listen, I'd really appreciate it if you go to our Facebook page real quick and leave us a review. Because it's not as, I don't think that Facebook reviews are as finicky as Google reviews, where Google, you don't necessarily want a bunch of reviews coming from the same location, because Google checks, the geo coordinates of where people leave reviews from. And if you have too many of those reviews from the same location, then Google could start flagging them as spam. So you typically don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that for Yelp. But Facebook is a little easier. I would say just ask, the best bet is try to do it while they're in your office still. Ask them, hey, would you mind leaving me a review on Facebook? And then incentivize them. Google is probably the most important place to get reviews, because when someone searches, personal injury lawyer Denver, they don't go to your Facebook page and check you out. What happens is they get a list of, if you're in the maps, they get a list of 3 law firms. They don't know who you are. So the most important thing is having the highest number of reviews, which I've been saying that for years, by the way. And finally, a study came out to confirm that it's not necessarily your star rating. It's the number of reviews that you have. So if you have 10 reviews and your competitor has 25 reviews, they're getting the phone call. That's just how it is. So you've got to make sure that you have the most reviews out of everyone in the maps. But, that's why Google is more important than Facebook. But Facebook's definitely easier, and it's important. But it's not nearly as important as Google, I don't think.